I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, the head coach for Job Search Coaching HQ.com. That's a site with curated information that you can watch, listen to, or read that's going to help you find work more quickly. I coach people. I want you to perform at a high level. And one of the things I learned a long time ago was, well, there's a saying from sports, the 6 Ps. Proper preparation prevents, I won't say that, I will, piss poor performance. Now, most people are disrespectful to their rivals. They don't prepare. It's kind of like when I was in school and I did no prep before taking a test. I hadn't been paying attention in class. I'm now taking a test. And once in a while I would get lucky, but most of the time it was crash and burn. When you go into a negotiation, when you go into an interview, when you go into a business meeting, how well prepared are you really? Are you thinking that I can just pull this out of my derriere and perform like I always have? Or do you take some time understanding what the needs of your adversary are? And I'm going to use the old-fashioned terms because, you know, there's a propaganda that's been created over the years about win-win negotiations. Win-win basically means you lose because it tends to be you make more of the concessions than they do. So if you're in a power position, that is you're representing an organization and entering into a negotiation, well, you've got an advantage. You've got the power. You've got the money. If you're the vendor, if you're the job hunter, you don't have as much power. You can refuse service, obviously, but what you're really there for is getting the money from them, right? The money that you want. And in order to be effective, you need to be prepared. And you need to recognize the cues that time and again signal them trying to talk you down. So the classic example is in job hunting, where they're asking you how much you're looking for. And they're invariably saying, are you willing to be flexible? And your response is, sure, I'll be flexible. But you don't follow it up by saying, but I'm not willing to concede flexibility right now without knowing more. So, you know, I'm about a quarter of the way into my search. It's relatively early. The market may dictate that I shouldn't be flexible. So don't make the assumption that I'm going to be making huge concessions here for a job that I know very little about right now. And by not putting it back on them, you're not showing the respect that's necessary. You're not prepared to have a rebuttal, and thus you've made an immediate concession without getting anything back. Now, I want to be clear. This isn't about hardball. You have to know where your limits are, and you have to know what you're willing to concede going into the conversations so that if you're shooting high, well, what are you willing to come back to? If you're telling them what you're really willing to take, why are you coming down immediately? Seriously, why negotiate immediately? You're not respecting your opponent. You're conceding to them, and you're expecting them to be respectful of you. They won't be, right? So part of what you need to do is to be prepared every step along the way. So that's interview preparation and understanding what it is they're really looking for and how they're going to evaluate for it. And that's not just simply in the interview. That's going to be your projected performance once you're on board, right? When you get further along and you're with senior management, how do you connect with them? What sort of relationship can you build with them in order to gain that respect and show your own respect for them too? Lastly, when you get into the negotiation, how well prepared are you? Have you spent any time practicing a negotiation with someone? So take the time to do your work. And I'm going to get to the negotiation now and say, practice your end game, particularly if you're a job hunter. Most of you spend so much time fixated on your resume, so much time fixated on your first interview, and no time practicing negotiation. I'm telling you, I've seen this time and time again with job hunters. You do nothing to practice how to negotiate. You arrive at that point relieved. I'm going to get an offer. And then your first reaction when it's made and it's a little low is to become indignant. No, you're just not prepared to negotiate at that moment. You have an emotional response because you haven't really thought it through. They've been signaling certain things to you over the course of your interview that you've chosen to ignore while conceding things, and then get shocked when they actually act from the concessions. Again, respect your opponent. Recognize what their objectives are in interviewing you, in meeting with you if you're a vendor, and in talking with you. What do they want to get out of it? And how can you fulfill that and demonstrate that in the course of your meetings? So when they get to the negotiation phase, I don't want to say it's anticlimactic, but you've made it clear that you're not going to be a pushover and that you want to join or sell to them. Again, we're talking about job hunters and vendors here, because at the end of the day, if you want to join, you want to get a fair price for your talent, or you're going to go somewhere else, right? If they think they can get you low, that tends to be your mistake because you've signaled it all the way through. So I hope you find this helpful. I do salary negotiation preparation if you'd like some help. I'll simply say that, contact me through my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. There are tabs along the top with drop downs. Contact me, order some time from me. I'd love to help you. You can also take my class on Skillshare. Now, this is geared toward job hunters, so it deals with negotiating mistakes, tactics, preparing to negotiate. 3 separate classes on Skillshare.com. Come over. You're to join. Seriously, you're to join. There'll be a link in the show notes that'll tell you how to do it. I hope you found this helpful. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, write a great comment. It helps other people discover this. Have a great day. Take care.